welcome to the Car, Sim and Race Driver Show, presented by Hugh Hattrick. Here at Bathurst in the Forest, my very special guest, Basic Ollie, Rascal, Rabbit, Josh Martin. It's great to have you back on the show. Drive fast and try not to crash. Hello and good evening and welcome to the Car, Sim and Race Driver Show. And tonight we have the royal couple of sim racing. I was trying to think of how can I introduce the couple that we have here in front of us. It is, of course, Jeff and Thea. Welcome back to the show.
Hello. Hello. Good evening. Welcome. Good to be back.
It is good, great to have you back on the show. Now, I believe, Thea, you've just been racing. You've been doing some F1 for a charity stream. How did that go tonight?
So the racing didn't go that well. I finished last, but I hope the racing did go well. I think it's an awesome thing to be doing, to be raising money for racing and gaming ultimately. So I absolutely love this sort of event. It's cool. So yeah, big thank you to Codemaster for this and the Birmingham Aerospace. That was a great initiative.
Yeah, you're certainly doing lots of different types of races, aren't you? From F1 to Group 3. Are you still doing a bit of rallying as well?
I am, yes. We've got some coming up soon. I think because there's a lot of opportunities that come around. I have to move things around because I haven't got enough time for all the sims. But yeah, it's coming back soon.
Yeah. And of course, Jeff, you've been racing in some of the races that Thea is in as well. How have you found that?
Yeah, it's been great actually. I'm lucky to finally have a rig as well. We've been changing things around. You can see we've got this room behind us with Thea's rig here, obviously behind me, and then my rig is to the side here. I've got to count this, my rig and desk in one configuration, so I'm actually able to take part now, which is great. And I took part in the last Enduro race that our community hosted, which was part of the Enduro Discovery series, which was brilliant, kind of getting people involved in Enduro racing. And it was in 8 hours at Spa, and I took one stint in the middle of the race, and it was pouring with rain. I'd never driven a Bentley in the rain before, so that was quite exciting because I happened to join a team that were trying to win the championship on the Pro Series, so that was quite scary. But just about pulled it off. Had a fairly fun stint, one little accident, but nothing too scary. And yeah, I'm also taking part in the Double Vision Series, which is GT3 and GT4 racing on Wednesday nights. So next round is at Donington tomorrow night, so plenty of practice tomorrow. And yeah, hoping to put in a good show on that as well. So it's great to get back into some racing finally.
Yeah, will that be streamed as well? Is that something that we can watch on YouTube?
Well, I would say that I'm not going to be streaming it in a hurry. We've noticed that if you try and stream twice in one household, that will kill your internet pretty quickly. So yeah, maybe one day in the future when we have lots of fiber connections and everything's great, we'd like to both stream. But until then, we let Thea do the streaming, and I'm just having a bit of fun racing sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Now, Thea, it's been well over a year since you started your sim racing career, and you've done some amazing things. I think the last time you were on the show, it was about the end of August or early September time, but a lot has happened since then. So tell us about some of the highlights of the last 12 months.
Sure. There's been loads. So we've done 2... Can you hear me?
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
Were you muted?
It would be good if you could mute yourself though, because I can hear myself in echoing. Good. Okay, so there's been more female races season 1 and 2 that went super well. I think the bar in terms of level in season 2 was raised really high, and I can't wait for season 3 that's coming soon. That was definitely one of my best highlights. I still remember the feeling after the season 1, how warm I felt inside, seeing all these women enjoying racing and messaging me and telling me how much they enjoyed it. So that was definitely one of the best highlights of this past year. Being on the Formula E show was a completely new experience as well. I've never been on a sort of a TV studio, and that was amazing. shame again about my lap in while I was on the show, but it was such an amazing experience being part of the virtual Grand Prix. It's been really crazy. There's been lots of opportunities in pretty much all sims. And yeah, it's been. I think that's been my three highlights really recently. I could probably go on and list you more, but that'll be the three that pop in my mind as you asked this question.
Fantastic. And what would you say? Because I mean, I've watched quite a few of your streams, and you've had some really good performances. Where do you think are the areas that you've learned the most in the last 12 months?
I mean, I've learned about a lot of things in different type of racing. Recently, I've learned the Nordschleife, which I thought it would take me at least more than a couple of years to get there, but I've managed to do that. I think in terms of understanding the car, the physics, maybe I'm starting to get a bit involved in my setup as well. I've just picked up bits by bits here and there about racing line as well. I just know a bit more where to push the car. I feel like I know when the car is on the edge now, so it's definitely when I think it's where I've learned the most, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So do you find that with all this kind of incredible amount of sim racing in the last 12 months, or more fact since the beginning of last year, that when you get into your car, which I believe is a Fiesta, if I remember correctly, you have a little Fiesta, that the same kind of feeling of right when you get to those red lights, you're about to head off and use all your skills on the road, or are you very calm and relaxed when you're behind the wheel?
Jeff, what do you think? Am I calm on the road?
No, she's a nightmare. She started hitting curbs on the inside of the road now because she's trying to hit the apex. So yeah, bit of a nightmare. The alloys are gone. Hubcaps are ruined. But she's probably got a bit more skills now at higher speed. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Probably makes her a bit too brave. But yeah, she's all right on the road. She's pretty safe. We got to get too far on our 1.4 diesel, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere at the red lights. When it goes green, I'm the last one to go. Normally.
Really?
There's no power in this.
That's fantastic. And have you been doing any kind of also? I know you did a day away simulator training last year, or perhaps this year. But have you done any kind of real racing as well over the last 6 months? Have you been doing any actual driving days or race days, that kind of thing too?
No. Obviously, lockdown has slowed down a lot what was any type of racing I would have done. I can't wait to go back go-karting. I think Jeff and I have plans to go very soon and see if I can transfer the skill I've learned through sim racing. There's also a track day that I've got in the Super Trofeo, the Lamborghini Super Trofeo, which I will be driving on a Lelo track in the UK. So that's a couple of options we've got for the future. I haven't done much racing, in real life at all, except my Ford Fiesta trip to my local Sainsbury. That's pretty much what happened.
I think she wants to 1v1 Super GT on karting, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, maybe you time your stints to Sainsbury's. Who can do the quickest run? That you can get it down to 5 minutes each way, or whatever it might be. No, that sounds absolutely fantastic. And do you think, with all this sim racing experience that you've got now, that when you get behind the wheel of a real racing car, it will actually help you? Do you think you'll be right on it because you kind of know what you've done so much GT3 and that kind of driving before?
I think so. I think I was already quite confident when I was on a go-kart. That's my only real life experience. And I think that now that I'm feeling a lot more confident behind my sim racing wheel, I will definitely feel a lot more confident with what I'm doing on track. So I really can't wait to see what it's going to be like. I really can't wait to see what I'm doing with that Super Trofeo car, because I think I'm going to push it to the edge if I can on that little track. I think it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you'll be. It's always whenever I drive a car like that, it's always the noise that gets you, because even at idle and you're sitting there, and there's always a few delays, when the instructor's getting in the car, but you're sitting in there waiting, and it's even noisy on idle. I remember watching the Super Trofeos Ingliston in Scotland a few years back, and they were really loud. That V10 is an incredible engine. So I'm sure once you get behind the wheel, it'll be great fun. and I'm sure you'll make the most of it. Now, we've got some good questions already that have been asked by those who are watching in the chat. And the first question is from someone called Back, B-A-K. What car series do you prefer to race in, and in which game?
That gang.
So, I mean, for me, it's very easy. Since the beginning, the first game I played was ACC, so it's always going to be GT3 Racing, ACC. It just gives me... I was telling Jeff the other day, there's no other game that I pick up and I'm going around Spa at high speed and my heart just starts beating. I get this emotion, it's a thrill that I don't get with any other type of racing, or at least I haven't gotten it yet. Maybe I will get it when I go back on the go-karting track, who knows. But yeah, I think ACC, and I would second that with rallying, even though I haven't done much lately. It's also one sort of racing I really enjoy. But the first is ACC GT3 Racing.
Fantastic. And then one of my co-hosts who does the odd stream with me as well, he's asked the question, have you got any tips for me to do dirt rally? Because he's seen me play it and I was pretty terrible. So what's your big tips for playing dirt rally if you've not had much experience on it?
Send it.
When I ask this question, people normally tell me go faster. So I'd say the problem is I'm cheating a little bit with dirt rally because I tend to do the tracks or the stage over a couple of times before, at least 4 times, and then you start remembering, okay, on that turn I can push a bit more. It's a little bit like GT3 racing or any track that you're learning. You have to do it a couple of times to know what you're doing. And just like if you were doing a walk, just go a couple of times, try and remember a couple of things, and then go for it. Just send it.
Fantastic. Now that's the thing, because I don't really do the shakedowns. Probably I should do more of it, isn't it? That gives you a chance to learn the stage a bit more. But it is great fun. And when I watch like you doing these things and you go so fast on these cliff edges, and I think I would just be down the cliff, but you manage to stay on the road, which is always fun. How do you find, Jeff, watching Thea doing all these races? Does she still ask you for the odd bit of advice here and there?
Well, I mean, the sad reality is that she's a lot faster than me on most tracks now, especially on a set of course of competition. So she doesn't really need to ask me for much help in getting around the track. One thing I would say is that she's probably a lot faster than her experience, right? So as a lot of people have been racing for 15, 20 years and won't get some of the lap times that she's getting at the moment, which means when she's racing and doing really well with her lap time, she'll find herself racing against people who are normally quite experienced and have a lot of racecraft, which is a whole different thing altogether, right? I mean, qualifying and hot lapping is great, but actually what we're here for is racing and winning. So getting to the point where she feels like she can control races and win races is something I can still help with now and again, just giving her a bit of advice, sort of on little things to do on track. But no, she's a lot faster than me now, most stuff, so I just kind of leave her to it. And in fact, she helps me with tracks and so on and get me up to speed a little bit. She'll probably do that tomorrow on Donington, for example. So it's a bit of a mix, to be honest. Yeah,
and I know that you went to Brands Hatch last year, and that was your kind of first visit and watching the real racing kind of going on. What would be given the lockdown, and once it hopefully all releases and you can get out and about, where would you like to go? What would be your first kind of motor racing event you would like to visit this year?
I'll answer that one first, shall I? Brands Hatch last year was brilliant. It was the first time we'd ever been to a proper full-size race circuit, really, in that respect. It was different karting and so on, but they went to Brands Hatch. It was a historic F1 event, had loads of different cars there, Can-Am, GT, all through the 70s and 80s and 60s and 50s even, so that was brilliant. And that was an amazing event. For this year, I think looking at what's going on, it feels like a lot of things are being pushed to later in the year because people feel like it'll be a bit easier to hold them. So I think everyone's a bit nervous about planning stuff. It's not cheap, these things. I guess if it was cancelled or so on, you'd probably get your money back. But I don't know. I think we would love to do an F1 race this year somewhere in Europe. And we would probably love to do a GT race this year, I think. Again, UK or Europe. I think that'd be lovely. Obviously, we were in a lot of contact with Dave Prowlett at SimGrid. He helps out a lot with what Thea does in her racing, and he suggested we should sort of go and see him at a race. So if there's any chance to do that this year, that'd be brilliant. Those kind of things. So yeah, we'd love to do as much as possible, really, and definitely get to a kart track a few times. So yeah, that'd be the goal. And then maybe you'll see the Sim Racing Expo, which is at the Nürburgring in September.
That looks
So maybe you should book a flight for that, Hugh.
see, I'll join you at that one. That does look
Right?
amazing.
Yeah, it does. It looks like a lot of fun. So, there'd be maybe a chance to get to a few tracks in that way, for sure. What about you, Terry? Any tracks you want to hit this year? Spa 24?
Yes, I think my top 3 is Spa, Silverstone, and Nordschleife. That'd be the first 3. Yeah.
Similarly, there's a racing drivers academy or a race course you can do at Abu Dhabi, just on the Grand Prix circuit. But I think they cut it up a little bit. But it looks spectacular. I was seeing that on YouTube and how that looks absolutely amazing. I think it's like a proper Formula 3 car, maybe even faster. So they put you in a proper single seater, and then you can imagine driving under the lights at Abu Dhabi on your first kind of stunning, wouldn't it?
I think we should. What we'll do, we'll start a GoFundMe, a Just Giving page to pay for our flights, and we can get, and then probably another one to pay for the actual experience, and then sounds good here. We're up for
One
that.
of my co-hosts is a captain for a major airline, so he'll probably be able to get you a deal on the tickets.
Well, indeed, Thea's dad is a pilot for Air France, no less. So yeah, lots of pilots around, I guess. So we should hook it up. Sounds
We'll
good.
get you there, get you sorted out. Now, we've got a great question from Gary Gilmore. He's saying, for both of you, do you watch any other racing YouTubers?
No. No one. Not even you, Hugh, to be honest. It's the first time I've seen your channel. So congratulations on 337 subscribers. Looks like you're doing a lovely job here. We only watch BBC One, to be honest. And that's it. So we don't see any streamers on BBC One, unfortunately. So no, sometimes a bit of BBC Two and Channel 4 if we're feeling risky, but that's about it. So no other YouTubers, just nothing really. Ted, do you watch any? You're telling me you don't.
Yeah, we do. So we watch you. Normally play GT Sports when we watch. I have only caught him once or twice playing ACC. I don't know if he's been playing it more and more.
More intentions too.
Okay. We still watch Super GT videos. I think they're still hilarious. I know Jeff watched Game of Muscle as well. We do watch a lot of Dardier too, because he's doing a lot of racing. And more recently, I started watching Do King as well, who's part of Dardier's community and is really, really fast. So I like to watch fast people because they're watching them. I try to emulate them. So I think it's always good to watch as many as possible, especially if they're fast.
Yeah, we do watch just about everyone, to be fair. Jimmy Broadbent, Kai, I'm trying to think of others. Obviously, some of the ladies we watch. So we watch Thea's friends, like Yvonne Vandenberg, and then we watch Farina and Andy. Marin never streamed, does she? Then we see Love46 sometimes on Twitch and others as well. So, yeah, there's just loads. Everyone, to be honest, that we can catch. There's not enough. Obviously, like you mentioned, Jardier and people like that. So, yeah, not a lot that we don't watch, really, to be honest, that I can think of at the moment. There's probably some on more like the Formula One side and so on that we don't see as much of, like Tietman Dark. Was it Tietman Marduk? I don't even know his name. Apologies. I know he's very popular. And there's a feels like that, like a Rav and so on, who do Formula One stuff that maybe Terry will watch a bit more in the future. But yeah, it's always good to find new ones, right? So, yeah, we watch them all, I'd say.
Fantastic. And who's been the biggest surprise to race against? Because obviously you've seen many of them on stream, but then you've actually raced against many of them. I know you've raced against Jimmy Broadbent. Did you want to have a race with Jimmy Broadbent in maybe one of your Group 3 races? Who's been the biggest surprise that you've ended up racing against?
So I've raced Jimmy Broadbent in the F1 Virtual GP, but I unfortunately my wheel broke halfway 2 laps into the race, so I didn't really get to race him that much. I don't think I've had many races with him apart from that. I did race Jardier on a couple of occasions. Now I'm saying race, it was more him flashing me because I had a blue flag. So I've actually been punted off, a little bit off the way by Jensen Button in the 12 Hours of Silverstone for the Brain Tumor charity that was organized by the Sim Grid. So I've had my fair share of, racing with I guess that would be the one that comes to mind. Jensen Button was quite aggressive compared to Jardier, who's used to the online world more than the real life world. Jensen was a bit too aggressive, maybe.
Did you report him? He reported to the stewards.
It didn't. No. It didn't cause any issue. It was just a little bit of a love tap. Just get off my way. Which I did.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, one of the questions we've had there is: did you see the Formula One at the weekend? And if you did, what did you find the most exciting part?
Oh, it's tough because as you can imagine, I'm not the happiest girl here. I was definitely not a huge. Well, I think secretly I'm a fan of Verstappen. So Alpine is my team, but then I also support him. Normally, it's avoid the disappointment, but I was very surprised by the ending. The fact, I think it was. I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was going to go for it, and we were going to have him, but he had to give the position back. So I guess that was the most surprising. I can't say there was a highlight for me because I'm supporting the wrong team.
That's all right. No, that's.
But I think Jeff was Jeff. You supporting? Who are you supporting? McLaren, Mercedes? I'm not sure.
I'm the biggest Lewis fan you'll find. Don't try it.
Yeah, it was a bit more of a
yeah,
good
no, I
time.
thought the opening laps battle between Lando and Ricciardo was brilliant. Really enjoyed seeing that. Very close. Both of them gave each other a fair bit of room because they're teammates, which is good in the end because obviously there wasn't any connections and any punctures or anything like that glancing each other. So I thought they raced together really well. Yuki with a great couple of dives, and of course the fight at the end between Max and Lewis was great. I got the feeling Max might not sort of catch him and have enough pace to overtake him, and if he did, Lewis would probably be able to attack back. And then obviously Max did the thing where he overtook outside the track, unfortunately, and then later on overshot about 3 turns later, and at that point there was another gap to get back, and he didn't have the time to do it in, and his tyres were starting to fall off as well. He probably overcooked him at that point. So a lot of fantastic battles up and down the grid. There'll be more this year, right? So looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I think potentially with the way that Max was so much quicker, I mean, about 4/10 in qualifying, and clearly was quicker overall in the race. I don't think Lewis is going to have it his own way. I think it definitely will be, and that's a big gap to try and turn around maybe other circuits, and other circuits may be better for Lewis. But I think we could see Max doing really well, maybe even claiming a title. It's certainly, I think it's going to be exciting, and the midfield is quite close as well, which is always good. If there was a Grand Prix that you could get to, which one would it be? What if there was no expense spared, you could go and watch any F1 race you would like? What would it be?
I would have said Monaco before, but in terms of racing, I think it wouldn't be the most exciting for me. So I guess I really don't know. I like all the tracks. I guess I'm going to be really boring and say Spa or Silverstone because they are just my ultimate favorite tracks. So I would just go to one of these. What about you, Jeff?
I'm just looking at some of the tracks on the wall here. I've got a lovely poster with a lot of tracks on it. Let me show you, actually. I might be able to swing it round for you. There we go. Can we see that? Have I broken it? There we go. Look at that.
Wow. Oh,
so that's got the Isle of Man TT around the outside, which you can see there is Scarfell mountain course, or Snaffell, sorry. So that's the Isle of Man TT to scale around the outside, and then all the other tracks inside it to scale. You've got Le Mans in the middle, you've got Nordschleife on the top right there. All sorts of tracks around here. It's beautiful. And all the details about them there. So if I was to pick a track to go and see with no cost to fear, I think the expenses bit adds a dynamic to it because, of course, you think, well, it'd be nice to get paid to go and see Monaco, considering how much that cost. But I think for me, seeing Formula One cars at I don't know, no expense, maybe just the Red Bull Ring, the Red Bull Ring is very tight, so you can see a lot of the action from that, I'm guessing. I've never been there, obviously, but I'm guessing for the Red Bull Ring, you can probably see a lot of the action. So a nice, expensive trip to Austria in the mountains in a big chalet. There we go. And grandstand view of all the action right up on turn 1, I'm guessing. I mean, I could say, there we go. That's a good point. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve.
Yeah,
a good seat there. Good shout, Andrew. Yeah, that'd be nice. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve.
And you want
a couple of options.
The F1 paddock, the paddock pass.
Yes.
Now, I think one of the first places they launched it, I think, was Canada, and it's right above the pit lane.
Give me the God pass. Yeah, let me in everywhere.
And it's so you can sit there and you can have your buffet and your champagne and watch the racing, and it has big screens in front of you so you don't miss any of the action. And then you can wander outside onto the balcony and watch
My
them.
kind of race. Beautiful.
That would be, I think that would be a fantastic one. But now we've got some more people coming on. It's great to see everybody in the chat. Keep your questions coming, and we'll pass them all through to Jeff and Thea. So what do you think is going to be the biggest challenge you're facing this year in sim racing, with the invites that you've had and races you're going to be participating in? First of all, to you, Thea.
Oof, the biggest challenge for me is to try and not overwhelm myself too much, because I say yes to everything and I'm ending up having 3 races on the same week and no time to practice all of them. So that'd be the biggest challenge. Yes, focusing on one thing at the time and getting my pace up, because I always need to thrive, and so I can reach my goal to compete at high level one day. I know I'm not there yet, but yeah, we've done some amazing progress, so that'll be this.
Yeah, and if there's a kind of, I know obviously you said you love the GT3 cars, and that's the ones that you really want to thrive in. Is there another kind of maybe another car that gives you a real thrill when you drive it on ACC or one of the other games that makes you think, oh, I'd love to have a go on one of these, or get really competitive in this category?
Well, so at the moment, for the past maybe 6 weeks, I've been learning the Nordschleife with my friend Matt Evans. And at the end of, we do an hour where he's training me on one sector. And then the second hour, we just go around the Nordschleife with the community in different cars. And each week he has selected the type of different cars. So themed. For example, yesterday I was driving the V8 supercars around the Nordschleife. And I found them really fun. But that was my first experience really driving a supercar V8, really properly driving it with the blip, having to deal with all this side things. And I also really enjoyed driving the Porsche 962, was it? Great cars. I think I haven't tried all the cars to say just yet which my favorite is, but there are some cars that I've tried in the past few weeks: the Ford Mustang, 302R, and the Mini. The list is growing of the cars that I really like. So I would love to get to drive one of these in real life one day.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. And I've been watching you as well, Jeff, during your streams. The last one was, I think, was an American track. It was a kind of oval, but it had an in-course.
Roval, yes, that's what they call them. Roval, yes, road oval. Sorry, please come.
And so that was because you've been doing lots of, I think you're in the Mazda MX-5. So have you got some big plans coming up? Are you going to extend?
Well, I'll be honest. Obviously, I've got a channel, the Sim Cafe, which is great fun. And that's kind of what it is, right? It's just a bit of fun. And I dare say that I like to do things where I can kind of keep them going. And I have struggled with the Sim Cafe to find the time to really do that, because I'm always invariably helping Thea run that channel, and that's kind of our priority, and that's what we enjoy doing the most. And obviously, there's a lot going on with that all the time, and it only grows. So it is a bit hard to kind of find the time to do the Sim Cafe as well. I did have plans to meet the Pineapple Gang, one of the teams who have been taking part in our Enduro series, and have a chat with them on my next show. So I should arrange that and make that happen. But the Sim Cafe is fun to do, but I don't do it all the time. I think there might be a chance soon where I'll get to start doing it again on Sunday mornings, which would be nice. And also, there was a point recently where I was doing a lot of racing in the Mazda, like you said, on iRacing. I wanted to get into at least D class on for license on both oval and road, and that's what I was doing at the time. It was all free content, of course, in iRacing. Also, you pay for the subscription, but that content is free. So I was able to do all that for free, and now the next kind of series I'd want to do, I'd have to start paying for. So you're a bit like, I've kind of moved away from that now, and I'm back to ACC because I've already paid for that. It's free. So I'm enjoying a lot of ACC racing at the moment. With it's coming soon, Sarah. Don't worry, I just saw her in chat. I'm planning to do more ACC with the community with Thea. And iRacing, I find that you kind of need to do a lot of it because it's so different to ACC. The feel is so different, and if you don't do a lot of one, you can then not be very good at it and then not start to enjoy it so much. So I think I'm kind of focusing more on ACC at the moment, and then streaming it potentially in the future. But I think one thing I'd really love to do this year is obviously a 24-hour race with Thea at some point. Would be really cool. I do love enduro racing in teams, a lot of fun. The longest we've done is 12. She's done a few of those now. I've done one. And it'd be great to do a proper big 24-hour race, preferably on ACC. I mean, people have mentioned iRacing. Obviously, there's more variety on iRacing, but I think for me, an ACC 24-hour race would be pretty cool to start with. So yeah, let's see what the future holds. But yeah, like Thea said, her biggest challenge is kind of focusing on not too many things, because she does, of course, have a full-time job still. She's a very busy lady, and we'd love to do more and more things with the channel community. There's so many ideas we have as well, so many things we could do, and it's kind of frustrating almost that we can't really do them all, because the more you try and do, obviously you'll start diluting what happens. Yeah. So yeah, it's just finding that balance, I think, is the hardest part at the moment.
That's fantastic. And now going on to your channel, because it's grown hugely over the last 6 months even. You've seen a lot of growth because you did these big F1 races, and you were on TV. I'm sure you had the Sky coverage when you were doing the F1 race a wee while ago. What's that been like to see your channel explode and lots of new people coming along and becoming fans of the channel?
I mean, it's all being super positive. I think for me, as for Jeff, who's helping a lot in the background, it's always about sticking to our goals. So we've been sticking to our goals. I think being part of events such as F1 Virtual GP was great for exposure, but exposure to show that to all the girls out there that if you can, if you can't see it, you can't be it. So showing my face has brought somehow more girls viewers, because I can see now that the number of girls watching is a little bit higher. It's still really low, but we're getting somewhere. So we're definitely doing the right move on that sense. It's been amazing. We've been growing the community with more incredible people. I think we're way over 700 people now on Discord. Maybe 800 people. Jeff,
850 or so, yeah.
850, yeah. So yeah, we've got an incredible community with who we can race on a weekly basis, on a daily basis. It's been great. It's been all positive, and I can't wait to see where that takes us.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's been great to see it all grow and to see more and more people come along, and then you as you race in these great races and against real racing drivers and other kind of YouTubers, and you're getting your foot in there, and it's really, really good. We can't wait to see you getting further up the grid, because it can only be a matter of time before you're going to show exactly what you can do, and there'll be a few people thinking, oh my goodness, I've got to race against Thea, and they'll be trying to do all the tricks of the trade to try and keep you behind them. Well, what would you say has been the biggest in terms of racecraft? What would you say has been your biggest improvement in that?
It's some tough question you're asking here, Hugh. I think in terms of racecraft, for me, the most challenging is what Jeff was saying earlier, is that my pace has grown, because I understand the concept of the racing line and hitting the apex and trail braking. I'm improving all these things little by little, but I think the hardest thing for me to still juggle with is the racecraft, the overtaking, what to do when I'm following someone up really close. Can I follow someone up really close? And I think I'm doing this better and better, but it's definitely the most challenging I've had. Well, I'm still learning. On every race is something happen, and you get punted before T1, you have to continue racing. All this is a huge challenge. So I'd say the racecraft and dealing with what happened in the race is the most challenging.
Yeah. All right.
Huh?
Is it good?
What do you think you've improved most in your racecraft?
I know I can follow people up very close, and I'm a lot more aggressive. But I haven't got that. I haven't reached that level that I want to be in, because I'm fast. I just haven't got the experience.
Mm-hmm. No, we've got some good comments here coming up as well. Say from Mark Lewis, saying dealing with all the fast Bentleys coming past. But is that a reference to Jeff coming through in a Bentley? But I'm
not going to say that.
And then we've got, as I was saying, do the gloves still help? Because you quite like wearing gloves for some of your racing. Do you still find that you're wearing gloves for your races?
Yes, they are always next to me. I try to clean them as often as possible so they don't get too smelly. But yeah, I'm wearing the frame gloves. They are amazing. They're super light. I don't think I ever race without them. Even if I just go on for a couple of laps, I always put them on. It just
Oh,
becomes more than an habit.
no, that's nice. Sorry, I misread the question. But yeah, no, it's quite good because they do stop your hands from sweating away, isn't it? And it keeps it a lot better from making it easier to hold the wheel. But now Sarah Johnson has asked, which Bentley is the best car in ACC?
It's a Ferrari, the best car in ACC. There's no other answer to this. They're asking this question because they do know what I think about the Bentley, and they're teasing me. And they are not going to hear anything from me on this.
You know, the McLaren 720S is the best car in ACC, of course. It's the best looking, has the best sound, and it's great to drive. So I think that's settled. Thank you, Hugh.
That would be the thing. That now going in terms of your kind of upcoming races and things like that. What would be? I mean, you mainly do kind of normal, proper racing cars in the games, but do you ever like driving kind of more kind of road cars in games as well? Because I know that the Assetto Corsa offers you that possibility, but is that something that you sometimes have a little go in?
Yeah, so I've been doing it lately on the Nordschleife. I absolutely love driving a manual car. I've learned last year, it was really hard actually, to do heel and toe. So I'm very, very pleased every time I get to drive a manual car and then use the.
Good little blip.
Yeah, I just love it. It's very rewarding. Once you know how to master it, it's just that little. It's beautiful.
Because of course you've got the manual gearbox on your rig, and you've got a handbrake as well on your rig, haven't you?
Yes.
When you do the rallying. And how do you find? I've never played a rig with the manual gearbox. Is it kind of? Do you find that there's a bit of play in it, or is it very tight, like a proper racing gearbox should be, and things like that? Does it change very quickly?
There's two answers to that. Thea's never used a racing gearbox. And secondly, the Fiesta feels great downstairs, obviously, but the Thrustmaster TH8A shifter is a great shifter, and also we do have a slight mod on it, which makes it a little bit more clunky. So, to be honest, it feels great. Yeah, it really does.
Fantastic! No, that's really good. And what would be your ultimate car when the Fiesta finally has its day, and you could go into the garage and say, right, something new, please? What would you end up buying?
What is it going to be, Thea?
Oh, that's it. I had two Clios when I was in France, so I would just go straight back to having a Renault. Unfortunately for Jeff, I don't think that'd be what he'd pick. Or a little Mini Cooper. I like small, curvy cars, so for a road car, I'd just definitely have a little Renault. Maybe an electric car?
I think it's going to be you're both going to have a car. That might be a better question, so you can both choose one. You can both have one. But actually, you would like the Megane. The new Megane RS 300 is a fantastic car, and you can have that in manual and in automatic. So that would be quite a machine. That might be good enough there for the two of you. But what's been the best car you've ever driven in real life, other than your Fiesta?
Oh. When I was a teenager, well, I just learned to drive. So I just had my driving license. One of my friends, his dad had an Audi, and he let me just start it. And I had my head back onto the back seat when I pushed the throttle. So that was one of the pretty much the best experience, I guess. It was only for a couple of meters because I was quite scared at the time. I just had my driving license. I wouldn't go further, but yeah, that would be the best experience. Other than that, I've driven my mom's car, who was a Skoda Fabia, and that was a lot more smoother than any other car I've driven before. So there you go, my two best experience.
I think you've probably forgotten my dad's Mondeo. Thank you, Mondeo Gia, no less. M registration. Hugh. So we're looking at 1994, I think. Absolute dream machine. Fake walnut dash
was falling apart.
It was not. It was just a bit used as it was, but a marvelous machine all the same. So yeah, I think that might have been her best car, my father's Mondeo. There we go.
there you go. You need to get yourself to Goodwood because, and certainly they were doing it up until, I don't know if they did it last year or not, or the year before. But if you go to the Manufacturers' Day, you can get to drive the cars up the hill. But you've got to be there early, and it's normally on the Thursday, and it's free. Normally they're free, and I reckon with your clout, because people know you, they would be handing you the keys quite easily.
Thea's got no clout. She's got nothing. She couldn't. Honestly, what could she say? Hi, I'm Thea. Like, get out of here. No, that'd be amazing. And no, that really would. We didn't mention Goodwood when you asked us where we'd love to go, and that would definitely be up there for sure. We love watching it every year on the live stream. I've been meaning to get there, and I know Thea's quite keen as well now. I think it'd be fantastic. So yeah, add that to the list. And this year, if we could, really, fingers crossed.
Yep, it's the 6th to the 9th of July. So it's going to be. Hopefully, if it still goes ahead, they're still certainly selling tickets. It'll be a cracker. But I drove up the hill in an old. What was it? It was a Infinity hybrid, and it was great fun. They put an extra chicane to stop me going really crazy. But it was fantastic fun, and I remember getting to the start, and then they let me away, and I just floored it. And it was they always had an instructor or a kind of salesperson from Infinity, and he said, "I see you want to take this hill climb seriously." And I said, "I wouldn't have travelled about 600 miles to get here, and not have the chance." But it was great fun. It was fantastic, and definitely worth it. If you get the chance to do it, you just contact the manufacturers in advance. Pick a car you would like to drive and who's there, and then I'm sure that if you do it a bit, give yourself time, you could be driving up the Goodwood Hill and think what kind of video that could make.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Love channel. That would be something. But and there's so many ranges. There's anything from Fiats to Ferraris, so there's all sorts of stuff that you could do there. But yeah, so I'll quickly check the. In fact, we've had Sarah Johnson saying she's had 3 Alfa Romeos. That's pretty good going, isn't it? So she'll be used to lots of kind of wonderful European cars, and we've had people saying Bentleys and all sorts. Porsche Cayman is also very popular. But so there's lots of amazing cars. So I'm sure when you get your racing license in the future and the money's coming in, you'll be able to say, right, that would be the one that you'd quite like. That now, what would be? What's your next big race that's coming up that we can all watch you doing? Is it a big championship event? I know you've got your Donington one tomorrow, but have you got any more big, a kind of celebrity event coming up quite soon?
Celebrity events, not really, not at the moment. They always come out the blue, and literally a week before, a day before, they don't want us to have any training. So you have to practice over 2 days before in total panic mode. So I haven't got anything like that yet, but I'm sure that there will be things coming about very, very shortly. What I do have though is the Sprint Cup Season 3 of the Sim Grid, which I'm taking very seriously. Yeah, with my my partner, my teammate Yvonne van der Berg, who's a Paralympian athlete. She does archery. So she's a very, very, very talented driver as well. And I'm doing the next round, which is round 3 at Imola. So we haven't been very lucky in round 1 and 2, but we've worked really hard to just qualify in split 5. We just made it in split 5. And I'm taking this very seriously. I'm absolutely enjoying the experience, even though we were not very lucky with round 1 and 2. We've been bashed around a lot. I think round 3 will be amazing. Fingers crossed. No incident in that.
Wow, well, that sounds like great fun. And also, you've upgraded your sim rig in the last year as well. Now you have a track racer rig there. Do you have plans to continue the upgrading, or do you think it's a rig you'll have for a wee while yet?
That's a question I get asked quite often. For now I'm happy with with my TR8. I was happy with the RS6, if I'm completely honest, but I do have a fiance who needed a rig, so we said, well, that's a good occasion for me to be upgrading to something that is very similar to the RS6 and still follow what I expect from a rig in terms of look, in terms of functionality. So I'm very happy with the new rig, and I think Jeff is quite happy with his new rig.
Yeah, I'm over the moon. I've got it's the first time I've ever had a proper rigid rig, and obviously thanks to Track Racer for sorting us out with both of them. Thea will be doing a video on her TR8 rig soon. It looks amazing. It kind of does everything you want. Obviously, it's a bit different to the 80/20 aluminium kind of rig that you'll see in a lot of places. And of course, Track Racer do those as well. But I find that they lack a little bit of kind of form. They all tend to look obviously identically boxy, and that's about it. So we like to have these flowy rigs that look very, very nice indeed. And yeah, I'm delighted with mine as well. So couldn't complain. You could always have more, Hugh, but to be honest, Frostmaster make these incredible wheels. We've got the load cell pedals. We've got gearboxes. We've got button boxes. We've got, Taylor's got shifters and so on. To want for any more would be, I think, a bit lavish. So we're just really happy with what we've got. And maybe we can start to spread the love maybe more to the community in the future and get some other people with equipment as well and kind of get it out to them rather than spending it on us. So yeah, let's see what we can do.
I have to say, the Track Racer looks amazing with all your television screens. It's all built to take that, isn't it? So you can just order the rig and then you put your TV on it and all the bits and pieces. Was it quite straightforward to build? Was it quite a difficult thing to do?
No, it's very easy to build. I think the only thing that takes a bit of time is for you to find the perfect position, because you have to keep adjusting things when it gets to where you really like it. And I was very I knew exactly what I wanted because I was very, very happy with the RS6. So it was a bit of a game trying to get it to the same level and the same angle like I was with before. But yeah, I think I'm in the perfect angle now. It's a bit different. My seat is tilted backwards a little bit, and it's really helping with my back. Yeah, I don't know if you can see. It's a little bit tilted backwards because they have the frame on the side allows you to tilt it a little bit backwards or just have it a bit straighter. So that's a bit different.
That's good for your back, obviously.
Yeah, it's really, really helping my back. And yeah, I think I've reached perfection. I won't move it further.
Yeah, there's a post on Thea's Instagram showing all the parts for it. It's impressively easy. A lot of it is part built in the factory, I think, I'm guessing. So when you get it, genuinely, it's just bolting a few things together. You really don't need the instruction manual. And it's just putting a few very large, heavy, chunky bolts together, and you're done. And even for the monitor mount as well that goes on top of it, it's a very simple construction. So really cannot complain. But like Thea said, adjusting it can take forever. And it's a longer process than you realise because, of course, you kind of need to get in the rig and do a lap of something or two. And then see how it feels. And be like, actually, okay, well, let's change that today. And you change that and you try another few laps. You're like, maybe. So it's a long process. Building it was like 10, 15 minutes. And then adjusting took hours, getting exactly what you want. And then you try it for a bit longer and you're like, well, actually, maybe we could do that. And then, you're kind of looking at it thinking, are you comfortable? No, not really. Okay, so let's try that. And yeah, that's I guess it's part of the fun. But I guess you're going to be doing that at some point, Hugh, right? Where's your rig?
Yes, absolutely. It's up in my box room at the moment. But because unfortunately my children are too near and they complained last night when I was racing that they could hear the sounds. So I thought, right, I'll come down here and I'll do the streaming interviews in my kitchen. But yes, but we've got I'm about to buy a new PC, so I'll be getting your advice on how to get all that sorted. And I'm hoping to also improve my rig as well, because I've had a G29 wheel and pedals for the last 3.5 years, along with just a playseat challenge, really the kind of entry level unit. But it's been very, very good, and hence the Fat Man in a cheap sim. It kind of works quite well for that. But I would like to get something slightly more expensive or something a bit more upmarket and a bit better. And I have to say, when I was looking at the Track Racer, that does look like a very, very good rig. And also it would be much more efficient in terms of using the room in the box room to fit it in, because my monitor is far too far away. And I need to kind of, with the rig that you've got, everything fits properly, doesn't it? It's all designed for every bit of equipment.
Yeah, if you've seen Thea's, you're just putting her arm out now. If you've seen Thea's video on monitor stands, you'll see there's obviously a couple of different sort of things that we've done in the past. You've got the kind of DIY thing when you perch it on the edge of a desk and stuff like that. But we've found some of the best ways, obviously, to have a dedicated monitor stand, which is very useful. Because you can get it kind of right over your wheelbase, of course, and you can't do that with a normal kind of stand. And then the second option really is to have it very close to a wall and use a wall mount. And then that way you can kind of swivel it across and over the wheelbase. We used to do that before, and that's what I do now. I've got some of mine mounted on the wall, and you can just swivel them around. And if you have your rig up against the wall, they can come around and basically fit over the wheelbase nicely. These wall mounts cost 10, 15, 20 pounds, really. They're pretty cheap. And that's, I found, one of the best ways to get a monitor close to your rig. And if not, you have to spend, sort of more like 150, 200, 300 pound on a monitor stand, which is a bit more of an investment. Again, very lucky Track Racers sent that for Thea to review. These kind of investments we probably couldn't make otherwise. So yeah, I'd recommend the wall mount as a cheap alternative. I'm actually using a desk mount at the moment. So I've got my monitor mounted on the desk on those kind of desk swinging mounts that cost £20 on Amazon. And I just swing that from my desk round to the front of my rig. And it's working a treat. So I've got a desk during the day and a rig party during the day, or party in the evening, and a business during the day. So there we go.
That's brilliant. And so what would be your kind of advice to all your followers who are looking? I mean, many of them are already into sim racing and are already competing, but maybe to those who have come on board recently and they want to get a rig or they want to kind of get started, what would be your kind of first bit of advice for getting a rig and getting started in sim racing? I'll go to you first, Thea, if you like.
The first bit of advice that would be, I'm not 100% sure. Well, it depends for a start which game they would be starting on. But if they were to start on ACC, I guess it would be to do the what I've done in my first few series, to be patient, learn about the tracks. Huh? Oh, what equipment you mean? Oh, sorry. Equipment. Well, I think the equipment for me, I started with the Place It Challenge. I don't know if it's exactly the same one you've got, Hugh, but it was the most comfortable thing, and yes, I think it was just perfect for me. It looked like a racing seat. It was comfortable. It was doing the job. So you don't need to spend straight away. You don't need to invest into a rig. You can just start with a Place It Challenge. And when you finally start finding your pace and you see if sim racing is completely for you, then you can start upgrading on a lovely track racer like mine. But starting with a Place It Challenge can be a great start in terms of starting with. I started with Logitech pedals as well. I do think the TRCM are a great starter kit. If I'm completely honest, if I could have started with that, I would have started with that. What do you think? You just restarted recently, so you might be best placed to answer that question.
Not really, because I was lucky enough to get some very very sweet donations. No, I think if you're taking it back quite a lot, Hugh, honestly, I think everyone should take the journey of starting in the basement, in the bargain basement, and get the cheapest wheel you can. Because I think there's some people in your chat now that have never done sim racing, right? I can guess actually there's probably a few who've never actually done sim racing with a wheel on a PC, for example. So if you have a console, or if you do have a cheaper PC, because they can still run a lot of sims, I would recommend that you get the cheapest wheel you can find on eBay. Preferably one that does have force feedback as well. I do believe some of the cheapest Thrustmaster, like the T150 maybe, or the TMX, I'm not sure which one's which, but the very cheapest wheel and pedals you can find, it costs about £100 or £80 on eBay or Amazon, that has a bit of force feedback in it. And play with them and start to put them on a desk, or if you've got a table, put them on the end of a table and stick the table in the middle of your living room and do that and stick them on the end of the table, just like Thea and I did back in the day, right? All those kind of things, enjoying the early experience. And then very quickly you'll want to get a Logitech set of pedals, and then very quickly you'll probably want to get yourself the Place It Challenge, right? Because that's probably the cheapest way to get a rig. It's like £150 or less if you get it second hand. And then that's kind of where it goes on to. I think the kind of Logitech and Place It where you're at, I think, is a great way to really get into sim racing. But for a lot of people, I would say just get yourself a wheel, because there's a lot of people that still use a controller. There's a lot of people that don't really experience what it's like to use a wheel, and it is quite a big difference when you get the wheel and pedals. Even the cheapest set, the immersion ramps up, and obviously the better quality equipment, the more immersion goes, but it doesn't make that much faster. So yeah, make sure you enjoy getting on track, and make sure you do it with a wheel of any kind, on a desk, on a table, on your PC desk, whatever it is, and once you're hooked, get yourself a Logitech and a Place It, I think. And then, or maybe, I mean, to be honest, the cheapest Thrustmaster things, the T150, are maybe better than the Logitech, because the belt, anything that's more belt driven than gear driven, does feel great, and that's something I hope you experience soon. If you get yourself a little T300 or something like that from Thrustmaster, I think you'll be surprised at the difference in the feedback. It's not a lot more powerful, but it feels quite different with more fidelity. So yeah, that'll be something for you to experience soon, hopefully.
Yes, no, absolutely. Because I mean, the wheel is good, but I like something that gives me more feel. And I know that my pedals have been every so often they cause a bit of grief.
Yeah, the potentiometers don't like the dirt, do they? So it doesn't take too long.
It was quite funny though, because my wife came into the room when I was cleaning them, and I'd borrowed her hairdryer, and I was using the hairdryer to blow everything out, and it worked. So so that was it. Clearly, it wasn't for my own hair, as little as there is there. So it's but no, all sorts of things do work in those circumstances. But of course, you did also do a video on the V-Rig a few months back, wasn't it? That the V-Rig looked incredible. That when it moves into different positions, doesn't it, for different kind of games? How did you find that?
It was super duper comfortable. So comfortable to try out the different I think I only got to try 2 different positions. I couldn't quite get used to the fact that my feet were so high for F1, and I was very impressed with that. And I don't know which of the position. I think I tried the rally and then F1, and I can't remember what was the last position I didn't get to try. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. An amazing rig. I think it was.
It's like €1,000. It's about €1,000, which is not that bad, really.
Yeah.
Oh, for what it does, no, it's quite a good value.
Yeah. So that's the thing. In fact, we've got a good question on that note from Sarah Johnson. Thea and Jeff, do you have any advice on how to start streaming, and what is your ultimate goal with streaming?
I can answer that.
Yeah, Thea wants world domination. So Thea actually wants to do enough streaming to get enough money from donations and members to pay for hair dye, obviously, as you can see, but also to raise enough income to pay for like her own cat village, where she wants to create like this miniature-sized world that looks really cute, and it's all in kind of like 1/4 size, and you've got cats inhabiting it, running all around and being cute, and you've got like a little cat chef and a little cat postman. Yeah, and then you've got the little cat Amazon delivery driver delivering the cat stuff to everyone, and she just wants to live in a little cat world, really. So if she can get the money together for that, she'll then be able to steal enough cats from the neighborhood and start her own cat world. Is that right?
To answer the question, we started with the cheapest equipment we had. I think we had a camera laying around. I can't even remember why we bought this camera in the first place. I think we bought it when we decided to stream, and it was a Logitech camera. I don't know how much we paid for it. It was maybe £15-20. We used our iPhone as camera. There was an app you could download, and then you could use it as a camera, plugging into the PC and everything. So we had really cheap tools to start with. So I think the most important is to find what you want to be streaming, stick to what you want to be streaming, find your goals, stick to that, and be fairly consistent with it. But I think the equipment come as you develop, as you're sure that you're interested in streaming. For example, the camera and the microphone we upgraded to, where the first really big investment we did, and we did it, I think, after 6 months streaming. So it wasn't the first thing we did. I think the focus was more on the content rather than. Ultimate goal, though, would be to. We have this crazy thought that one day we'll have a lot of subs. I don't want to say how many. It's a bit of a. It's good to have a dream. So.
1 million. So what it is, right? I'll tell you, Hugh. So what we do is Thea's wanted to create content since she was a very small girl, right? And so she's lucky enough now that she's found something she can do, which is really exciting for her and also inspiring for others, right? So she's very much keen on bringing more and more women into the world of sim racing, and she's also keen on showing people that anyone can go from literally zero and knowing very little of any kind of racing and getting to a point where you can actually be competitive if you want, and not being afraid to show that. So that's something we want to keep doing and want to keep moving forward with. And of course, she wants to keep involving more and more women and girls and younger girls, and she's got a long way to go to the point where she'll be feeling like she's at the top. So that can go on forever, to be honest, and we don't really sort of see those goals changing. And then funnily enough, we talked about this earlier or the other day. I said, what do you think theamusante could look like in 20 years' time, right? I mean, why not? And yeah, this idea of having like some sort of sim racing academy for women and young girls, where they use this to get into the top levels of esports in F1 and ACC, etc. And it's kind of known as like internationally, like, yeah, one day I want to grow up to be in the theamusante sim racing school. And get to do that, and those kind of things could be quite fun ideas. But ultimately, if there's something that's actually created for the future, then it could be quite a cool plan. So yeah, we've got some near-term plans. We've got things we'd like to keep doing. One thing we always say is that we never look at the numbers. I know you've obviously mentioned things like how many subs and things growing and so on, but to be honest, it doesn't really serve you to look at any numbers. There's a lot of reasons why they could be up or down or otherwise, and that's not really what this is all about. It's about having fun. It's about enjoying the content you do, and of course, like what we've said, inspiring others is something that can keep you going quite a lot as well. So for those reasons, we just want to keep going and enjoying it. If the numbers keep going up, that's great, because it means we're doing a good job, and obviously people are getting more and more interested in it, and hopefully we're diversifying our audience a bit. So yeah, that's what I think. What about you, Thea?
Yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with having a vision. So, I mean, Jeff once asked me what's where the best YouTubers out there, and I have my own favorite YouTubers who I can see where I want my channel to head. Like Jeff said, we don't really focus on the numbers, because I still remember what it was like to stream with 2 viewers, and I was still giving the same energy that I'm giving now with maybe 60 viewers, 100 viewers. For me, it's the same thing. I'm still focusing on the same goals. I think there's nothing wrong with having a vision. So I can see in my head where I wanted to head towards. And I think Jeff said about having maybe a school academy in the future where we could train little girls and children in school, coming after school and coming to the theamusante Academy to become F1 esport driver. That would be just amazing, I think, to have something like that in a few years, to see where. Yeah, let's just see where we head. Like I said, I absolutely love saying yes to everything that comes my way. And that's how I met you, Hugh. You just emailed me. I said yes, and that's been fun every time. So yeah, let's see where we get in. Jeff.
Don't forget, we don't know where sim racing is going. I mean, apart from the fact that it's growing massively, I mean, the technology is obviously improving, right? So imagine how exciting sim racing is going to be in 5 years or 10 years' time, or even 15 years, or, God forbid, 20 years' time. How exciting it will be then. So, yeah, it's only going in a positive direction. It's only growing, and I think there's a lot of exciting things in the future that we probably couldn't even predict yet. There we go.
Well, I reckon if you get an intro or an invite from Formula W, make sure you say yes to that one. I could see you racing in that Formula 3 car alongside all the others and doing a good job. I think that would be an amazing thing, because there were rumours they were going to make that an actual esports championship, but I don't think it ever came round. I never certainly saw any more about that. But I thought that was quite a pity, because I think that would have been quite a good championship to do. But maybe they'll do it this year, or when they get back to racing, they'll try it again. But it would be great to see you in a real racing car as well, and showing a clean pair of heels. We'd all be there rooting for you. But it's been phenomenal for you to come on the show tonight for your second appearance on the Car Sim and Race Driver Show. And for everyone who's been watching, if you like what you see, it would be great to have you along. Subscribe if you can. That would be amazing. And if you like sim racing interviews, then we've got lots of history. For example, people like David Perel, Super GT, and hopefully very soon we're going to have JSR Devon as well, and Jimmy Broadbent in the future. If you meet Jimmy, tell him he's overdue. He needs to get back to me to get a slot sorted out. But it's been absolutely fantastic to have you on the show, and for everyone in the chat as well, for all your questions and comments. It's been brilliant. Thank you very, very much for participating and coming on the show tonight. Our kind of our last minute thing, as we say, is to drive fast and try not to crash. I've never heard Thea. I think I've heard you, Jeff, say it possibly, but Thea, would you like to end the show with our famous phrase?
Well, and don't forget, guys, drive fast and try not to crash.
Fantastic.
Perfect.
Stay on the line. We'll see you all very soon. Take care. Bye just now.